is an easy, casual, comfortable willingness to explore variety, knowing that you have guidance that lets you know what your best choices are. So explore and align and explore and align and explore and align. With this easy door to the vortex, understanding that it's all right, that everything's fine, that you are a worthy being and that good things are supposed to come to you and to others. In other words, the less guarded your stance is, the more you're going to enjoy your journey. And the less guarded your stance is, the more your journey will be the way you want it to be. And then the more subtle the variances will be. In other words, a perfect life, the one that you're looking for, we can feel it from your frequency. The perfect life that you're looking for is one with subtle variances in vibration and acute, astute awareness of where you stand in relationship to it. So that you're not going from joy to depression or from ecstasy to agony. You're going from less clarity to more clarity, to not as much fun to more fun, to I like you pretty good, to I adore you and want to lick your face. In other words, you're in these higher registries of, in other words, this contrast that we're talking about, we are not for a moment saying to you that you need to explore the breadth of all contrast in order to move forward. You can be in this physical body and exploring the contrast that only moves on the emotional scale from that feeling of contentment and absolute comfort into ecstasy. And you would not want to be in bouncing off the wall enthusiasm every moment of your day. It would make you exhausted. You like the variety in all of this, but you just don't need to dip into hatred and revenge and anger and depression and fear, you see. You don't have to dip into that.
Got it.
Now that you know what you know. So, we're wanting to get your attention. We want to sort of wake you into a keener awareness that you are the creator of your own reality, and that the reason that you are the creator of your own reality is because you've come here with great tools and intentions to enjoy the express motion forward that you knew was inevitable. And the reason is not as important right now in this conversation as the method by which you are the creator of your own reality. You do it by your thoughts. But you can't monitor thoughts. There's too many of them. There's too many moving parts. But you can pay attention to the way you feel. And if you will leave this gathering today with one intention in mind, and that is you care about how you feel, and you understand that how you feel has relevance. It is strict relationship with the larger part of you. That when you feel negative emotion, it means one thing, and it means the same thing every time you feel it. No matter what the negative emotion is or how severe it is, it always means the same thing. The larger part of you has an opinion about the thing that you're feeling negative emotion about that is different. So when you are mad at yourself, that discouragement is your indicator the source isn't mad at you. If you hate that guy because of his behavior, that hatred you feel is your indicator that source does not hate that guy. If you are feeling confusion, the confusion is your indicator that you are disallowing the clarity that would be available if you weren't focused in a way that is disallowing the clarity. You see what we're getting at? You have the ability to focus yourself into such alignment that you will be romping through life, feeling as if you are on a sort of magic carpet ride, where everywhere you go, it feels as if, and it is exactly as if, an entourage has preceded you and smoothed out the bumps because they know, we know who you are and what you want and where you are in relationship to what you want and what the path of least resistance is to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And why are we interested in helping you get from where you are to where you want to be? Is it because where you want to be is better than where you are? No. It's because the journey from where you are to where you want to be is really, 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 really fun. Hard to hear that if you're standing in the midst of something that you don't like, because it feels like if I could just not be standing here, I would feel so much better. But we want you to know that you're always going to be in some place on your way to someplace else, in some thought on your way to another thought, experiencing some experience on a way to another experience. So if you can sort of chill out a little bit, lighten up a little bit, and be eager about the journey and not so fixated on the destination that you feel disappointed that you're not there yet, then everything will take on a fresh new look. And you'll start looking out the windshield of your vehicle instead of at the floorboards. And you will begin to feel the clarity and the power of who you really are. You can tell what the outcome, the probable outcome is, by the consistency in the way that you are feeling. Esther laughed because she's been living some life and experiencing some contrast, mostly about the imbalance of things she wants to do and the time that she has to do them in. So she's been going general. She's been applying the processes that we've been offering. We'll talk about some of that with you. We're coming around to a point that you'll feel keenly here. And on the airplane flying from San Antonio last week, she took out her little book and she wrote 2 very bold statements of desire. Just wrote them right out and read them, appreciated the beautiful handwriting in which she had written them, read them again and underscored a line or 2 in them. And in the next 4 days, handed to her was the answer to both of them, coming from 2 different directions, both of them satisfied in a way that she can feel is the answer that she's been looking for. Maybe not the permanent answer, but for sure a step along the way in the direction of what she is wanting. And she laughed about it and said, I don't know why it took so long to just write that down. Because it felt to her like in nearly the moment that she wrote it down, it was handed to her in very vivid form. We want to say to her, it took a while before the inspiration to write it down was there. In other words, the writing it was part of the inspiration too. Because the process of clarification is part of the process too. The knowing what you don't want is part of the process too. The clarifying of what you do want is part of the process too. So it's just a matter of focus. That really is the key word here. It's a matter of focusing, because genius is just focus upon a subject. So you were born with a sense of well-being, a really strong sense of well-being, but not practiced control of a vibration. You came to practice that vibration and to explore enough contrast to launch new desires. But the specific answer to this really good question is that when you want something good to happen and it doesn't, you try to, after the fact, explain why. And a logical sequence of thoughts leads you to believe that there must be some outside force that is preventing you from the good that you know you want. Because your logic tells you, if I am good and if I want good, then shouldn't I be experiencing it? And if you aren't, then your logic says then there must be someone, something that is interfering. And then as you look for that, you prevent the good from coming. And the more you prevent the good from coming, the more you look for that. And the more you look from that, the more you prevent the good from coming, until you convince yourself with the facts of the absence of the good that you're looking for, that there must be some source of darkness. So it takes a little while to reorient yourself back into your true understanding of well-being. And hold your thought, because our friend earlier was a wonderful depiction of something that we want to emphasize here in a dramatic enough way that you can all really feel it. When you really, 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 really want something that you're really, 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 really not getting, then you have to explain it in a really, really, really big way. It's sort of like that. It's sort of like that. And here's the bigger piece of that. Since every one of you is source energy, and when you get crossways of that, when you describe yourself as not good, or as not deserving, or as not worthy, when the source within you knows the complete opposite of that, the goodness and the possibilities and the worthiness, when you get focused there, there is a big discord that then you describe in really screwy and dramatic ways. That's the best explanation that we've ever given of that. And when you think about how illogical that is, how could that be? How could, this earth continue to spin in its orbit? Have you looked around? Have you noticed the well-being that surrounds you? The continuity of things? The eternalness of that which you all are? You know, as bright as you are, you haven't managed to scrape enough dirt together and launch another Earth into orbit. You know there's something way bigger going on, you see. And when you get crossways of your understanding of the goodness of that bigness, then it's a pretty big, our friend described it perfectly earlier, that kind of bouncing out of the vortex will take you to your knees. Alignment is alignment. So once life has caused you to parlay what your desire into the vortex, and it's at this high-flying frequency, which we will call resistance-free. When you find alignment with that, for the moment of that positive emotion, you're in alignment. And we would not talk about degrees of alignment in that regard. But we would talk about degrees of alignment in this way. Some subjects you line up easily, some subjects you don't. In every case, even though alignment is perfect, there will be further expansion and the alignment won't hold. So you are constantly reaching for that alignment. It's like something's going on with the soundboard here, and Esther is wearing a wireless mic that is getting some resistance from somewhere. They're not sure if it's something that's being broadcast somewhere on the premises or if it's a failure of a piece of equipment. And so they have this backup hardwire that is not dependent upon the airport. It's coming through a more secure channel, so to speak. And so they're constantly reaching. They will isolate it. They will figure it out. But sometimes it takes some exposure to some experience in order to figure it out. And in the process, they will come to a better system yet. In other words, often what looks like a hindrance or what looks like a mistake or what looks like something unwanted leads you to something that is even more satisfying. This microphone has much better tone than the other one. Esther's going to like that when she listens back to the recording. That's an advantage that she didn't see coming, you see. And so maybe the best way to answer your question is that what you're aligning to keeps getting higher.
Gotcha.
But your in-the-moment alignment can only be to what it is when it's there.
Gotcha. Got it.
It won't stand still.
Got it.
And that brings us around
Gotcha.
to making the statement about the fun of life. The fun of life is reaching for that ever-changing higher frequency and meeting it. Can you hear that? Don't you just love there being something more for you? Don't you love the feeling of desire? And isn't moving to the fruition of the desire the most exciting part? And once you get there, it's good for a little while, but not for a long while. Aren't you glad that it keeps moving? Aren't you glad that your standards keep changing? Aren't you glad that there's more for you to reach for?
Yes.
Aren't you glad that you know how to do it? Aren't you glad that you can feel when you do it? And aren't you glad that there's more and more and more? It's the mantra of the universe, more. We are eternal beings. And if there is not more, we cannot be eternal. And we assure you, there is more and we are all eternal, you see. So the fun is in the recognizing the frequency and feeling happy in our awareness of the discord. I've got negative emotion. Ooh, how good is that? Something to want, something to bring into alignment. I'm proud of myself for my awareness that there's more alignment right now that I can achieve. And I can do it right now. I can do it right now. I can do it right now because I have the power of going general. And I have the power of aligning with who I am. And when you do, the immediate reward is you get the full thrust of source energy focused with you in the moment. And then the specifics start to flow in. And as the specifics flow in, you might be ready for them and you might not. You might have to do more aligning.
Right.
Because you were ready for the general,
right.
But are you ready for the specifics? Right. And what's in